you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so mainly, I guess we'll start off talking about the biggest news for Nott that I know of, which is you have, I will say finally, after the exit of your last drummer, secured a new drummer, and a very good one at that. So why don't you tell me about, I mean, as much as you can tell me.
I was trying to find people to fill out the band, because I didn't want to be the kind of guy that just goes up stage with a bunch of backtracks, drums and everything.
You don't, man?
As awesome as that would be, absolutely not.
Cool.
So step one was finding a drummer, and I found Tino. I went to school with him, and I hit him up, and like way after school, I hit him up, and he was on board, and we just started going and practicing and getting stuff ready with no real idea of how we're going to actually get a show going. Just like, all right, let's just see if we can actually do this. Let's see if this can be played live by me, and I didn't even know.
Because you have a couple albums before.
Yeah.
The Wretched Sound.
Yeah, I had 3 EPs out that I had zero intention on playing live.
Yeah, they was just creations.
Yeah, it was like bedroom studios.
Cool ones at that, but yeah, I mean.
Thank you. And then the Wretched Sounds, I was like, I kind of want to do this live, kinda, but I don't know if I like want to really or can, honestly, because I never even tried to do like vocals and guitar at the same time. I never tried to do a whole song in one sitting. I never tried any of that, so I really wanted to. So this is kind of like, I was kind of testing the waters. Like, I want to do shows, I want to get this going, let's see if we can. And then he was instrumental, no pun intended, in like making that happen.
Fucking killer drummer.
He's amazing.
Sure.
He's an amazing drummer. And then
I was so blown away. I know I've told you that before, but I heard your album. I heard the programmed drums. I heard what I could tell was like a modeling amp, and I was like, this is going to be some kids. You know, I didn't even, I was like, this is going to be some fucking kids. It's going to suck. You know, like, great. I can't wait to sit through this. And then you guys came in, and the vibe was cool. Like, right away, I was like, oh, that drummer. He knows what he's doing. He starts hitting the snare drum for sound check. I'm like, oh, shit. It's like, and then the whole thing came together, and it was really well. And you guys lucked out. Whoever was running front of house that night was
Elko.
Yeah,
that was Ryan. I also went to school with him. He's a badass,
dude.
So
all the bands sounded amazing that night. But yeah, that also helped. The sub was in the right spot. You know, anybody could fuck up that live sound gig, especially in a little teeny place like that.
Oh yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, I have too. It's hard sometimes. You could just be tired.
Oh yeah.
You could just be off of a couple other gigs and just be wasted tired and not be hearing stuff. But
that was like the first big Nott show too. The first big one in my book, and I was so hyper conscious of all these details that I showed up with like an input list with a description of everything. And
you're that guy, huh?
Yeah, I found like, where's the sound guy? Hey, I went to school with you. Dude,
nice.
Here's this.
That's awesome.
Here's everything you need to know. And he was like, fucking thank you. Awesome.
That's dope.
So I met him halfway, he met me halfway, and then it sounded great.
Yeah, it sounded really, really good. But anyways.
So
yeah, instrumental in getting to your first show.
Yeah, so and we brought Adam on board, and we finally had like a full band, and things were sounding good, and I was bringing in the vocals to practice, and eventually we could start playing. We got these shows going. It was just fucking awesome. Things were sailing super smooth. And then one day after practice, Tino was like, hey guys, I got some news for you. And he goes like, my job has offered me a spot over in Budapest. He's from Italy. He's not like his family's over there. He's from that part of the world. He's been here forever, but he's from there. And he had to take this job opportunity. It was a huge, huge move for him. He can be closer to his family. And
that makes sense.
Yeah, and it was hard to see him go, but totally get it. So right. Like, all right, now I have to find a new
after you got that taste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like this is awesome. And never mind.
What was the practicing like for you? Well, and to go back even a little further, so you were, I'm assuming, born in Alaska? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you lived in Alaska, which is small population, small town feel, probably not a lot of other musicians there, and if there was, not always the same exact musical style taste. I'm assuming. The only band I knew that came out of Alaska was I Wrestled the Bear once. Mm-hmm. And they were dope, but that's it. So other than that, your experience playing with other people,
extremely limited.
Right, and I mean, I know that it's our culture at this point to kind of be your own bedroom engineer, producer. The tools are all there.
Yeah.
You program your drums. I get it that, I mean, it's hard to, first of all, find other people that are good at the instruments, but then it's way harder to find people who are good at instruments and are cool.
Right.
And then it's even harder to find people who are good at their instruments and are cool and want to do the type of music you're doing.
You want.
And then it's even harder to find someone who's good at their instrument, cool, wants to do what you want to do, and also has goals of like doing something in the music business. So
absolutely.
Yeah, like you just said. I mean, it's way easier to just program the stuff and maybe hire some people for when you want to play shows. But then you got a guy comes in who can slay the drum parts.
Fuck yeah.
Straight up. What was it like practicing the first couple times and hearing that with a real drummer?
So I remember my mind being just like thoroughly blown because Tino is such a great drummer. I sent him, I emailed him drum tracks, like a click track and the album. I was like, here, try this song. And I sent him the files for Luminous, which is the consistently fastest song. And there's some blast stuff in there. Yeah.
It's pretty hard to play.
Yeah, so I was like, this is going to be a good, let's see if this is a direction I can go in the future. Because if you can play this, then when I write new stuff, I could keep it fast.
Right.
But if not, then I'll have to kind of pull the reins back a bit and keep it more like down tempo and slow.
Right.
So I gave him that, and he had like a week, maybe 2, to learn it. And we met up to kind of feel through the song. And I was expecting, like, all right, we'll get like through the intro, and then when the verse break hits, we're gonna have to like stop and I'll have to kind of walk through some stuff. Because I had no idea what this dude was gonna do. I'd only ever seen him maybe once, ever. And we sit down and he's like, all right, let's just do this. And we just played through the song.
Just like that.
He just crushed it.
That's nice.
Just to where I was sitting there going, wait, how's that part? Like I was the one going.
That's great. Yeah.
And it just blew my mind. It sounded so awesome. And we had this it was like a 10 by 10 room with these two 12-inch like PA speakers and a full drum kit and a full amp. There's speakers in every direction and a giant
just
kit.
hearing damage for days.
Earplugs. But.
Space of death.
Yeah, and we played through that, and I rode that high for a long time, and we eventually got to where we were playing like most of the set, and this whole time trying to find another guitar player, and found Adam, got him on the project, and then started playing shows, kicking ass, feeling great, getting to see other local bands, getting into the scene. I didn't really know the Seattle scene at all when I was starting this, because I mean, I want to go out to shows, but when I go out to shows, I go see a band I like, and I spend a lot of the time just being that, like the football player on the sidelines, like, I want to play,
Yeah, exactly, dude.
So
yeah, it's so hard.
It's always very bittersweet to go to a show and see all these awesome opening bands, because like, I want to do that.
Right.
I'm not from here. I don't know anybody. I'm like, hey, my buddy who plays...
End up getting too drunk and saying something weird and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
We all did it.
So, I didn't really know the scene. And then started playing, got to meet these people, shake hands, and it was just fucking awesome. But Tino had to leave. He took this job opportunity that was amazing. And he was pretty happy there. So that's cool.
Cool. So then, in that leaving...
Yeah. That left a vacuum.
Right. And you still wanted to go on. So then after looking for some drummers...
I got a taste of playing. I wanted to keep doing
How
that.
did you come across her? So I looked up her name.
She came across us.
Okay. So yeah, I looked up her name. She was on Drumeo, I believe. Yeah. And she has some fame. I don't know exactly with what. She's a great drummer.
Oh yeah. She's like a heavyweight in the Vancouver metal scene.
That's probably why I just don't recognize her, but she... fucking slays those drum parts I saw in the video.
I put out Adam and I flyered to town to try to find like Seattle people.
Right.
And then we also put up a couple ads online, and then it was basically like, hey, respond to this like email address that only exists for this purpose.
Right, exactly.
And got a couple responses. She hit us up like with the most professional email that we received. It was like, here's a video of me playing. Here's my resume, essentially. What are you guys doing? Because
see, kids, you got to be professional, even if you're a fucking death metal drummer.
Oh, absolutely, and
it's probably even more important, really.
our ad was so vague; it wasn't like Nott's looking for a drummer. because we didn't want to like advertise like, hey, we're up a creek with no paddle right now.
Right, that's not a good look.
Yeah, we didn't.
We don't know what we're doing.
Hey, we need help. We need someone that could patch this hole and get us back to where we want to be. So she reached out and she was like, here's what I can do. Who are you guys? What do you want? So I reached back. I was like, hey, here's all this stuff. Here's what we're doing. Let's here learn Luminous.
That's cool.
Same thing. And then and she was great. We had to figure out a bunch of stuff because she's from Canada. Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of things that we were sorting out logistically, and we went with her. Awesome. And I'm super happy. I went up to BC and we jammed, and it was awesome.
Awesome.
And then she came down a little later, and all three of us played. And it was awesome. So it was like, this is all working. It's so great. So then started the cycle of getting ready to hype it and announce it. Recently, was it Friday? 2 days ago?
Had a pretty metal photo shoot.
Yep.
I saw that.
Classic just went in like the woods, looking all angry.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no smiles.
No fucking smiles.
Between every shot,
just
breaking.
Evil woods with evil spirits in them and frowns.
Yeah, like tourists walking by with their
Exactly. I love. I'm about to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I saw your photos and I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? I don't know. I see other photo shoots and it's almost like they're never creative for our type of music. I feel so envious sometimes of like pop musicians and rap artists and stuff, because they can pretty much do whatever they want, especially in pop culture now with how zany people can dress.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really out there. Like, you could have a rapper wearing, like, pink fucking parachute pants again. It was 1992.
I would do that if I wanted to.
You should.
But I don't want to.
You should.
I should want to do that.
Yeah, you should take a picture on, like, a big piano, one of those walking pianos in the mall with, like, pink parachute pants on.
Like in Big?
Yeah, totally, like in Big. You could have the fortune teller next to you with, like, drumsticks in its hands or whatever. Man.
But then, I have this bittersweet relationship with like the metal aesthetic, everything's black, everything's evil, dark. No, but I love that. So
I mean, that's what draws me to it, right?
Yeah,
it is pretty cliche, but I mean, the industry that supports it is, I mean, that's what makes the cash. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who get our age or older in the metal scene start to get really jaded and they've already heard it all or whatever it is. And, that's what we're doing right now. It's like, I've already seen those photos 1,000 times. But I guarantee there's some 16-year-old kid out there that goes like, whoa, cool.
Absolutely.
There's someone who hasn't seen that 1,000 times and hasn't heard someone chug their open chord 1,000 times with triggers and stuff. It's just, I always try to keep that in perspective for myself that, hold on.
Not everyone
I thought this was fucking like life-changing at one point, and I still enjoy it a lot, and I still work with other people's music, and I see the joy that they get out of it, and I'm just like, okay, at some point you got to be like, you got to have the metal photo shoot, you got to have the metal video, you got to have the black clothes and the evil-looking guitar. Mm-hmm. It's just what we do, But I love it. So then, as far as that goes, this album was released in 2018.
Yes.
May. We're in 2020.
Yes.
And you're still rolling on the same album. Mm-hmm. Have you already stuff ready to go for another album, or are you working on it, or?
Working on it. Ready to go is not how I would describe it.
Okay. Like completed ideas, or?
There are a lot of ideas that are completed. There are no songs that are constructed. That's how I would describe it. I'm always very careful.
Are you going to involve her in the writing process?
I aim to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So live drums this time?
Yes.
Oh, that'll be honestly the biggest difference, I think, for me as a listener, is to hear, cymbals that sound like they're in a room. That's just the engineer in me. Cymbals that sound like they're in a room that aren't completely separated from the drum set. And I've mixed a lot of stuff that has, I'll call them fake drums.
Sure.
They sound great. They're perfectly engineered.
They recorded
There's
somewhere
something
once.
sort of boring about that to my ears.
Almost too consistent.
It's just my jaded nature. And also, I'm a child of the 90s. And the metal I heard then, the drums, we just didn't have it up there. Metal didn't get the love that it gets now. You know,
come a long
then
way.
the producers at Mora Sound, thank God someone had a studio that would have death metal bands come in. But, you know, Cannibal Corpse and Death and Obituary and all that stuff back in the day. I mean, those recordings are as good as they could possibly fucking be. It's tape. So it's just like, what are you going to do?
Right.
It's a traditional studio with non-traditional fucking music.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, nowadays it's, you know, everything can be perfect and we can have cannon shot snares like Warrant did and stuff. And, you know, it's just like you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You can just be just like a pop artist. But
a
having
lot of the
real
fun
drums, it's just something really, really cool. And like there's I think a cooler connection in that when you're listening to it. And, you know, the band already has a great aesthetic. And I think I was... we had lunch together and had like a meeting at one point.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly how I described the band. I think it was like blackened deathcore.
Some blackened.
I don't know.
Down tempo.
Yeah, it's something, dude. I don't remember.
But still fast.
Right, but yeah, it's super. If you haven't heard Nott, we can do. How about Tyler plays us a little bit of his super low tuned ass guitar? Tell us about your guitar. Actually, this is a good segue. Yes. You're good.
Okay. It's a combination of scale length, string gauge. I mean, you could have a one-string guitar. There was that thing forever ago. The
right.
The
gent stick.
The gent stick. Yeah, with the after the burial dude forever ago. But so this guy is an agile, semi-custom. I say semi-custom because I had them build this to spec, but they could only do so much. You know?
Okay.
And then I did the rest myself. It's 30 inches scale length all the way across, even on the highest string, which is not awesome for a lot of leads.
No pun intended.
Hey. I then put in the bridge, the pickups myself.
What are the pickups?
This is the Seymour Duncan. Should I do this? This is the Seymour Duncan Nazgul and Sentient pair.
Okay.
Yeah. I really, really like
Passive?
this pickup. Passive. They're really hot passive pickups in an active soap bar housing.
Three-way switch.
Three-way switch.
Looks like you filled in the tone knob.
Yeah, there's no tone in the circuit at all. I just took it out.
Okay.
And then I moved the volume down here so it wouldn't get in my way.
Do you spend a lot of time on the neck position?
Never.
No?
Never. What I do, though, is middle. Like for cleans, I'll do both.
Okay.
And then...
Because that thing seems like it's right up on the neck. Like it would be super bassy.
Yeah. It's really like...
I always liked the Stephen Carpenter kind of like middle pickup.
Yeah, like
that would be dope.
That
for
would
that
be
low
cool.
of tuning, yeah, it's already so much bass.
I've always wanted to play one of those guitars.
I've never played one either.
Yeah, I like the idea of that.
Stephen Carpenter, please send me one. No.
Send me one.
ESP, send us both one and we'll try it out for 10 years.
And maybe
then I'll give it back.
I'll send it back. Maybe. Yeah. But yeah.
Let's hear
tuning.
it a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So this guy is in D. So basically it's 8 strings. If you're
in standard for the first 6, you're D standard?
If you take off the 2 strings here, it's D standard.
Okay.
So...
What's your bottom string?
The lowest... The gauge...
The bottom here.
Oh. The top...
The tiniest string is
string is a 10.
Oh, really?
In D, yeah. So...
And 10, for a 30 scale, that's pretty tight.
Pretty tight.
Yeah.
It's pretty tight. Bending is not very fun.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's pretty tight, though.
It's like when Stevie Ray Vaughan had 12s for his E. It feels like that.
Damn.
I never really break strings, though, because I never really bend anything.
It's not really a blues guitar either, so you're not really going to need to...
Yeah, but...
and then your top string is
a D. It's an 80. So,
80? Okay.
Yeah, so it's D, A, D, G, C, F, A, D.
Cool.
I think.
Play us a little bit of... I don't know, anything. Just
anything.
Play something off. That's brutal, man. Holy shit.
This amp is killer.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, you really can't find a better amp. The only thing that I want to do to it is I'm either going to get the Zool that has the... So this has a noise gate before the amp.
Yeah.
And the input, which takes care of, noisy guitar shit.
Yeah.
But you can also run one through the effects loop that'll take care of the hiss.
Yeah.
So in the past, you'd run two. Now they're making pedals that have both the
Fortin,
same pedal.
Fortin Zool.
Yeah, the Zool or the cock blocker.
I've only seen...
So that's got one that goes through the effects,
videos.
one that goes through there. You just set it on top of the amp. They do both things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing that I'm missing for this. But yeah, even with passive pickups, I don't know. I've heard so much different stuff before I bought this amp. And I bought the single because, there wasn't a lot of places to try out Mesas, to be honest. I tried a couple dual racks, and I thought that they didn't break up very well. And it was like really loud to get them where they needed to go. But I didn't know what I was talking about. And there's a difference. This is 2 channels, and the circuitry is less. And there's less going on in here, even though there's more fucking tubes. But they made the 2-channel dual and triple rack with the only difference being 2 power tubes for from 92 until 2000. And then in February of 2000, they decided, because people kept asking for it, to put a 3rd channel in with its own EQ and master volume. So then there would be like a clean, a crunch, a modern.
Right.
Sounds like a great idea. However, those, in my opinion, was the reason I never owned a Mesa. They just always sounded really crass, like terrible sounding. And you'd have to boost the shit out of them and do weird shit. Then, as I got that amp, the single rec, because my buddy John, I recorded their band, and he had a single rectifier, and it was just a regular single rectifier, and it sounded amazing on the album. It was just great. It was like a Gibson Les Paul into a single rectifier, really nothing going on there. And I just put an SM57 in front of it, and it sounded fucking amazing. So I bought that single rectifier that I have over there. And then I started getting a little bit like, okay, well, this could be better, and this could be better. And so I went down the rabbit hole. It turns out Mesa has 20,000 revisions of the same amp, which lends to their name, Mesa Engineering, and not Mesa, we're guitar players who care about you and want to fuck. It's just like they never stop fucking with shit. It's just there's too many options on some of this stuff. Like the Mark series has push and pull and switches all over it and shit. If you look at the back of it, that's what this looks like. But the 2-channel Mesa, triple and dual, up until 1997. That's going to sound like this. Everything after that is weird. So, if you can find one that's in good shape, then that's great. But you're not probably going to. They're just not around. They've been on tour. All the ones I saw looked like someone drug them behind a truck. I just don't want that either. I'm not going to rebuild it. It's just terrible, yeah. Or stickers, or this is missing, or, it just looks trashed. I can't stand it.
Stickers on gear.
Yeah. Fuck that. Because this is a fucking, when it was bought new, it was like $3,000 fucking dollars. You don't put stickers on.
I don't believe in sin, but that's one of them.
That's a sin.
That's a sin. Don't put stickers on your shit.
But anyways, yeah.
Stickers are for venue, bathroom walls, and stop signs, and wherever you tag shit.
Something you would probably be interested in if you found one. So do you listen to Nevermore? You ever listen to Nevermore?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay.
When I got into Jeff Loomis, I got into some of that stuff, but then...
Okay, his famous tone is the Ractifier.
Okay.
Which if I buy another Mesa, it's going to be a Ractifier. I'm looking for one right now. If anyone has one, I will buy it from you. I have money. It is a dual rack that's a rack unit that was only made for a short amount of time.
So they made it way narrow. And
it looks cool as shit, yeah. It looks like this.
Still have the diamond plate?
Nope, it's all black.
Okay.
But it's got the same dual rack on there, and the switches are on the top. It just has a little, they shifted the circuits around, to fit into a rack unit.
The form factor.
But yeah, so that and a Maxon 808 is what they used on Dead Heart in a Dead World.
Badass.
And that's that sound. And that and a custom 7-string, because I didn't really have shit for them at that time. So someone put a bass tuner, I guess, on one of his guitars, and put a 70 from a bass string, and that's that sound. But that sound to me is one of the coolest sounds to me. I love the sound, and it's probably Jeff's hands.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's whatever. But after hearing this from this era, I want a dual rec from this era, and if I'm going to get a dual rec from this era, I want that one.
Rectifier.
That would be so sweet. But yeah, look it up. I don't know. I saw a couple. People want a lot for them, but I'm willing to pay for it. Just to have it, I want one. Oh, yeah. But yeah, and also I think I'm going to get another one of these, just so I can stack them on top of each other. No 412s.
You can go stereo. I do not have a 412. I haven't had one for maybe
what's your opinion on that?
years.
Because I know you have a Vader, right?
I have a Vader 212, and I got it because it was smaller and lighter and more portable, but still like a fucking monster of a cab.
They make humongous, well, they weigh a lot.
Yeah. My 212 weighs like 70 pounds.
Right.
So it's like...
Yeah, I think this is pushing 78 pounds with no handles on the sides.
Oh. I've got those subset handles.
Yeah, so they didn't cut out holes, right?
They're in the cab.
They're in there, okay.
Yeah. So I can tip it on its side, and it's not gonna be rocking on stuff. But just a box that sounds good with like super high wattage speakers.
What kind of speakers are in
break
there?
them up. I think they're whatever they made, like whatever Vader made. I don't know. I don't know if they actually cone speakers. I don't know if they do that. But I remember that it's 250 watt speakers, so they're not gonna like break up and shit.
Wow.
They have a lot of headroom in that regard.
That is a lot of wattage for a speaker.
Yeah, so all your sizzle, all your crunch in that regard is going to come before it in the amp and in your effects.
So you probably get like a nice like scooped sound out of that. Yeah.
Fairly scooped, yeah.
Because now
not like a gross like smiley face, but
no, I mean I've heard it. Sounds fucking good.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean like the funny thing about amps in a room that isn't like putting a mic in front of an amp is that it takes a second for it to bloom.
Yes.
So like wherever you stand in the room, it could be like different.
Right.
I found that I'm not a fan of Marshall cabs. Just something about the mids and those I fucking hate. It's like there's boxy weirdness going on in there always.
But yeah, I have that Vader 212 and I love it. I really want an Omega amplification 412. I have no need for a 412, but I really want one. So
I think the problem is that for one, transport sucks.
Yes.
And then second of all, there's just something about it seems not necessary to me.
Right.
212, like I've never had a problem getting more than loud enough.
My
people don't understand, but it's 100 watts or whatever. This is 150 watts. It's just going to throw 75 watts into each speaker.
Right.
I mean, it's gonna do the same thing.
Right.
If you have a shitty cab, well then it's a shitty cab. But
absolutely.
A good quality 212 with good build and good speakers is just as good as a 412.
And all you really need is enough stage volume to be appropriate.
Right.
If you're playing some house show and you want to be like disgustingly loud because it's fun, then sure, get something big.
If you're in a doom band, then yeah, you're gonna want 20 of these.
But if you're in a if you're in a venue that I want to be at, they're gonna mic you up and they're gonna do a good job.
Yeah, you need a little volume, but
I mean, yeah, you need. I want air to move behind me, but
right.
I don't want to be like nuking the kid up front with my amp.
Yeah, right. It's not even a good sound, anyways.
No, so yeah, it's not fun. I really like the idea of going direct with like an IR or a cab.
But then you got to trust a PA.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't like
high.
the idea of relying on that.
Yeah.
I've been to shows recently where bands are doing that. They're flying in with their Axe effects and shit. And like, I'll just keep it super light and I'll just go direct.
That's a great idea.
And it's beautifully transportable. The problem is, if you're like, I was at Studio 7 for a while ago, and I watched some band that I don't want to shit on them, but they were playing and it was great. And the guitar players are going direct to the front of house, and I'm at the edge of the stage, pit behind me, and all I'm hearing is the cymbal wash the drummer because he's hitting really hard, because way up here and behind me is the PA.
Right.
It's blasting everyone in the rest of the room. So I'm hearing like the woof woof muffle.
And probably some crappy whatever's coming through the monitor this way and bouncing off the back of the room.
Kind of hearing the floor.
Right, exactly, right.
So all I heard was drums, and I was like, well, I can either go in the back and hear something good. If I want to hear it good, I'll just listen to the album.
Right.
Or I can stay up here and watch the show and watch a drummer, basically.
Right.
Listen to a drummer. So I like the idea of that stage volume as well. So
yeah, and I mean,
you can do both.
I don't know, man. I don't even want to say old school. I like I like speakers, and I like amps, and I like guitars, and the further we get away from that sort of, I like it. It's kind of part of what I loved about like watching bands is like I'm a nerd and I want to go look at their stuff. And I mean, I was just talking about that too a second ago. Is I kind of wanted to know why I did choose a 5150 so long ago, because
someone else that you liked did it.
I went and saw. This is a million years ago, and will date the shit out of me. But in 2002.
Okay.
Chimera, In Flames, and Soilwork went on a tour around the United States, and I caught them at the Showbox, and me and my friends went there, and that was the first thing I did was start spying on the cabs and spying on the amps. And
I do that at every show.
Yeah, right? That's what you do. I mean, that's what if you play guitar, you do.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking, and there's a 5150 and a 5150 and a 5150, and it looks like to some degree they're all sharing something.
Like in some big flight case thing.
Yeah, and then Chimera used a 5150 on top of a Mesa cab, and Soilwork used two 5150s stacked on top of two Marshall cabs, and everyone was using 5150s, and so I thought, like, well, these guys sound fucking amazing.
I need that.
Yeah, I mean, and even if you don't like Soilwork, you don't like Chimera, the guitar sound on those for that era was, like, incredible. And live, it translated super well. So, I mean, compared to the other stuff I'd heard, like my buddies had crates. Everyone had the DSP crate and all those amps and the Blue Voodoo and all sorts of stuff like that. And, you know, if that's all the money you got, that's fine. Yeah. I'm not here to say that. But just plugging that 5150 in, nothing in between the guitar and the amp, it was like Chug City. And I fell in love with it. And I think I got a Bogner cab, and I used that for like 7 years or something.
My first real amp ever was a Bugera 6260.
Nice.
A Chinese clone of a 5150.
Yeah, dude.
And I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And I got it because I was spying on gear, and my favorite guitar player at the time was Mark Morton of Lamb of God.
Nice.
Does not use 5150s.
He doesn't use Mesa.
He uses Mark IVs. He uses Mesa. So Mark IV.
Famously the Mark IV, Mark V. But yeah.
Mark V, and also some other amp he's using in like a blend, because he's got roadies that can carry all his shit.
Of course he does.
But
I think he was using a Triple Crown or something. Royal Crown or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, well, the 5150 is a Mesa amp. The Mark IV is a Mesa amp. They're probably the same, just like an ignorant 15-year-old. So I bought like the one-off of the one-off thing, and I still loved it, and it was great.
Those actually aren't bad amps.
They're not bad.
They're kind of, you can tell when you feel them, the knobs are kind of cheap, and everything's just kind of cheap, and the tubes get really hot, but they sounded okay.
Yeah, but I bought it because I was watching someone else, and I was like, I want that.
Exactly.
I want that tone. I did the same brig, basically. I had like a DBX, what is it, 1066, whatever the fuck it's called, the rack expander compressor gate thing, the tool channel. So I had one in the front of the head and one of the effects loops. So I had like gate compression, everything, squash it, hard wall before the amp.
Nice.
And then again the effects loop, and it was just like,
that probably sounded great though.
It was great, and there were no dynamics, and my child ears loved that. This is
dynamics for metal, man. Yeah, no, that's funny. I did get at some point. I had those Bugera ads came out. Soul of Valves or something. They were like marketing it really well. Like it was. They spent a lot of money on the marketing and not a lot on the amps. But so I was at one point I'd acquired a Line 6 spider valve, which I ended up hating. It was a piece of shit. It had a Bogner.
Valve.
Power section.
Okay.
Was the gimmick, and then it had a vintage 30, and those were stamped on the front of it, and
then the spider.
I was using a 5150 into like I think a Mesa cab or something at that point, and then I had tons of pedals and gear, and I just had that too. It was 112. It was a combo amp,
big heavy combo amp,
and it sounded like ice picks, like death. I couldn't get it to not sound like ice picks. I even put like a piece of wood in front of it to see if I could get it to like a baffled.
Yeah,
you know, that's worked before. I mean, it has. Like, I've done that before to record people and shit too. But, and if you ever live sound and you really do think someone sounds like shit, you can just put a fucking guitar case in front of, like, some point, and won't kill the crowd in front of them.
Right.
But yeah, so I had that, And then I hated it, so I just put it on Craigslist or something at that point. And some dude's like, "Oh, I'll trade you for a bunch of this fucking different crap and this Bugira 333 XL,
yeah,
which was their copy of either a PVA XXX or a triple rectifier." Mm-hmm. I don't know. Couldn't tell which one they were going after, but it had three channels.
Probably a marriage of both.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. It looked like a copy of a JSX to me. It had this like chrome thing, and then the Bugera in the middle. So it kind of looked like the JSX aesthetic, and it looked like a PV. And it was pretty cool. You could see the tubes. I was like, okay, man, this is cool. You could see the tubes through the grill.
That makes it sound good.
It did.
If you can see the tubes, it sounds better.
And I already had an iSAM, so I didn't care. But I'm playing around with it, and it came with a pretty usable foot switch and stuff like this. For I think it was $300 new, or $400 new, or something. I was like, damn, this is cool. The only things I noticed about it were that it did things that cheap amps do. Once you played it for a while, the volume dropped out a little bit, and then even longer, and the distortion got really loose and messy and stuff that you won't get out of a higher end.
Reliable.
Yes,
sound.
You could tell the components were just, they got hot, and that was it, and then the tubes burnt up really quick because it just got really, really fucking hot. But besides that, for fucking $400, I would recommend anybody buy one.
Sure.
Yeah, dude, if you're in a band and you got, I would that through even their Bugera cab. I tried one in the Guitar Center a couple times. It was okay. They had like a 212 that was, like I think it was a decent inch baffle with vintage 30s or something in it. I mean, dude, I don't know. But yeah, so there's that. Talking about amplifiers. I don't even remember what the fuck we were talking about now.
We were talking about modeling.
We were talking about modeling.
Yeah.
Weren't we? We were talking about amp modeling and live and how terrible it sounded because we didn't have cabs on the stage. So do you think that if you had cabs on the stage, that would have changed everything for
Absolutely. You? They're flying in, so I don't expect them to like check a cabinet. But if you just rent one, or even, borrow one.
That's such a hassle, though.
It sucks. I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, everyone has a cab. You can call up Guitar Center, like, hey, do you have something that I could rent for a night? I won't spill a beer on it, I promise. And then pay them $100 or whatever the hell it is, and then something.
But yeah, you have to do that like 30 times.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's better than having TSA handle your cabinet.
Well, yeah, that's why they just fucking plug the stuff on the stage.
It all makes sense.
I get it, man. I don't know. It's I'm not a touring musician who goes over to Europe, so I don't understand that. Yeah. And for me, I could see that being a hassle, and even though you probably would like to bring your cab and your head and your stuff, it's probably just like, man, you got to cut down on costs. It costs so much to be a musician, and it doesn't pay as much as you think it would. Sometimes you'll get a gig and you think it's going to pay like good. And you just get heartbroken because you're like, oh, man, I sold all these tickets and I did all this. And
I worked really hard for this.
Yeah. Here's your $120.
Extorted my friends for this.
My friends aren't going to talk to me for like 8 months now because I had everyone in the world come to this. Right. That's happened a couple times, You know how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Promoting in the same town over and over and over again.
It's not
tough.
fun. It's not fun. You want to play shows. Shows are fun. You want to see your friends come out. That's fun.
Yeah.
But unless your circle is like 10,000 people strong, and you could
that's why you tour.
Exactly. So,
and that's why you got to not use cabs and amps. That's why you got to bring
your
little pedal and disappoint your fans everywhere you go. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's not very metal.
It's not.
Oh, damn, dude.
What
does it all come to?
I still love gear.
How did and that's what I wonder too, is like they complain about that and they're like, oh, I'm never gonna. What did Nirvana do? What did the fucking Melvins do? They went all over the place in a fucking Econoline van or something, or a Chevy van. They had to bring their cabs.
Oh yeah.
They had to sit on their drum sets. They had to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
sleep on like a.
You're better than them,
8-10.
dude. Fuck you.
Right.
That's the story. And
what's crazy though? Well, now
the adversity is cool to talk about later, anyways, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Well, we rode on their cabs all the way to fucking Florida one time. I mean,
I slept on my Ampeg 810.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But. When you have all these companies that make stuff that sounds really good and it's light,
yeah,
and I could spend $2,000 on a head.
So you went to NAMM.
I did go to NAMM.
We should talk about that. Did you try the neural?
No.
Quad, whatever?
I wanted to. But
Speaking of units,
yes,
this one seems like if I was going to get one.
Fuck, it looks so cool.
This would be the one. There's even a video of a dude like stomping on it, like jumping on it to see if the buttons would break and the screen would break. And it looks like it's solid as well.
Built like a tank. Yeah, I worked NAMM, so I didn't have a lot of free time.
Oh, you're working at what?
I was working at Mackie.
Okay, you don't have to say that.
I don't care.
Okay.
I work at Mackie.
I don't know.
But I worked there, and
we aren't talking about stuff that's bad, Mackie, so don't worry about it.
They're cool.
They're cool.
But I was working the booth, and then whenever I had time, I would go down and like check everything out. And Neural was one of the places I want to check out because of the quad core i7, whatever the hell their thing is. And then because I use the Fort Nameless plugin a lot. I use Parallax a lot. I love their stuff. But in the same booth was Hapas Guitars, which is this like German boutique guitar builder that I've loved forever. And I got immediately distracted, and I went over there instead.
Oh, no.
I played their guitars, and it's like, oh well, got to buy one of these now.
Right. So, yeah. No, I think that's pretty much that. I don't know what it is I don't like about Axe Effects.
Yeah. I've never played one.
I've played a couple, and it sounded really
Wait,
plasticky.
no, I have played them.
But I played them when they first came out. So I played the original Axe Effects.
The V1, the first.
Yeah, I played the Axe Effects 2. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just sounds so generic. And it just sounds like if you didn't want to have a personality at all in your guitar playing, you could just play this.
They all sound the same. Everyone's sharing the same patches.
That's fine, and I understand that. That's fine. But
I currently use the Pod HD Pro, which is like the poor man's version of that from 7 years ago. And I came to the realization a while ago that I could have the tone I want, for recording, and then I could have the tone I want live. And if I want to do that... Right.
I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of it has to do with your hands and you, and you dialing it in and your Vader cab and, stuff like that. But like I said, there's too much of the same. There's just something like this amp was owned by someone else.
Right.
This is just an example. This amp was owned by someone else. Someone bought it in 1995. They played it for a while. They saw something shiny, and they sold this, and then someone else got it. This thing's been retubed. Who knows how many times?
Sure.
It's probably been repaired. Who knows how many times? If you bought another triple rectifier this is 6166. If you bought 6167, they would sound completely different.
Sure.
They just would.
Absolutely.
And I love that. I love that. No, even it's the same idea. It's the same breakup. It's the same sound. They're unique on their own, and maybe people don't think about this because they're a lot of people who are engineers now or starting to do their own stuff in their bedroom that are like, whoa, this sounds great. That is one amp that is being modeled for like every modeler. So that's somebody's amp that is the holy grail amp. And this is no different. Like that rectifier, Andy Sneap used that rectifier on tons of recordings.
I'm sure.
But you couldn't just download it then.
Right.
So, so that's how that goes. But there's just something about having your own amp. It starts to get its own character, and you play through it. Your speakers sound a little different because they've been stored in a different room. I just love that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's got its own little character going on to it, and you can definitely hear it. And I hate that people are so afraid of that now.
I think that your cab is quite possibly one of the biggest tone. I mean, it is one of the biggest tone shifting things in your rig. But like if you take this amp and put in my cab, remarkably different tone immediately. It's like
famously rectifiers don't really sound good through anything but like Mesa cabs. But
I wonder if that's an engineering design.
It is.
How do we sell more stuff?
No, but I mean, I think from what I understand, because they wanted it to have the low end that it does, they had to engineer it for its own self. They'd have to remove a lot of stuff out of the circuit.
You should work in marketing for Mesa.
Dude, any day. Any day. Let me sell your stuff. I'm in love with it. No, but seriously, I love that. And I mean, I think they all do that though. But I have a cab in the other room that I use for just to get if I do a left side and a right side, and I do another left side and another right side. You can't just keep using the same cab and the same amp. They just get really phasey. It's got the same mid range and stuff. So I use that cab, but you have to dial all of this fizz and stuff out of it. Yeah. And you have to move the 57 in just the right spot to where it's not getting all the cone noise. But it still sounds cool. It's just not like, you don't get the chug. Like the chug destroys that cab. Like the thing sounds like it's going to fall apart. The speaker's like, it's just like, no, please. That's what I'm saying. Is you want to have girthy ass tone. Yeah, you got to have really good speakers. Absolutely. And a really good cab build. Mm-hmm. But,
not the house PA.
Not the house PA. Which, that's funny. More Mesa stuff. I was looking at the cab clone.
The what?
They've had it for a while, but it's like their impulse response for if you just wanted to have the head.
Okay.
So say I got my rectifier. It's all in my head. I've already spent $7,000, and I don't even have the stuff yet, but I'm already ready to spend it. The rectifier, the rectifier, and I'm thinking like this big, maybe 4 slots, 3 slots. Rectifier will take up 2 slots, and then I need a tuner, maybe, or maybe a effects something. Maybe I'll use Axe Effects for that. Then, Marty...
Buy an Axe Effects for the tuner.
For the tuner, just for the fucking tuner.
Fractal, you make the best tuners I've ever seen.
The best fucking tuner I've ever seen. And then a cab clone, which has outs on the backs of it that takes that original, really dynamic power, out of control signal and turns it into something that would come out of a cab.
Okay.
So then you could just have someone plug that straight on the PA.
So it's like their answer to like the 2 notes kind of
it's been around for a while. But then you could take something that was the size of a head and close up the ends of it, and you wouldn't have to bring your cab with you, and you could technically get what people would say is a more reliable tone.
I have a similar plan right now, a gear plan.
Okay.
We didn't want to get into gear.
Yes.
We've been in gear. But I mean, specific to what I'm doing.
All I ever do.
God, I love gear.
Yeah.
If only
just in here fapping to guitar heads and guitars and.
If only money was as like prevalent as.
Oh, I know. And if only playing music just made me more.
Oh, that'd be. I mean.
I always say this too, but like every time I get more money, it's so I can create more stuff. Like.
All right.
It's always. I just want more stuff to create more music, to get more gear, to make more stuff, so I can create more stuff. But yeah.
Endless cycle.
It is.
The Nott live rig has gone through like 4 different incarnations, and I've only played like a year.
I love it.
I wanted a rack rig exclusively. I didn't want anything on the floor in front of me because I didn't trust myself with a pedal board.
Oh, really?
Yeah, originally. Now I'm actually going in that direction. But I didn't want a pedal board. I wanted everything behind me. I didn't want someone to like spill their beer on the brain of my rig. I didn't want that. I wanted everything to be MIDI controllable. I wanted everything to be just clean and perfect. And you roll it on stage, plug in like 3 things, and you're done. I wanted to be the sound guy's best friend. And I did that. Classic like laptop rig, having an interface. The interface had MIDI control for both of our rigs. It was sending click track, the drummer. It was sending us feed for our house. It was elaborate and heavy and dumb. It worked, but it was heavy. I brought it here once.
Yeah, definitely.
Big honking thing. And
that was a lot of stuff going on.
It was a lot. It was a lot of stuff. But
carrying it up the fucking stairs.
That was fucking stupid.
Yeah, I have a lot of stairs. So
I move it a lot. When I went to Canada to play with Julia.
It's cool as long as it's all flat.
I had to get that thing out of my like storage unit and then into my truck alone, which is fine. It wasn't fun, but it was fine. And then I had to get it like up. It's not fun to move. It sucks,
right?
Especially alone. So I had phased out the laptop. I replaced it with the Cymatic Audio LP16, which is basically it's a brain that does everything I wanted the laptop to do. I didn't want to be relying on OS X not to update.
Right.
I didn't want some weird core audio thing to fuck up. I didn't want my DAW to crash. I didn't want any of that to happen live. There's too many moving parts. Even though it was reliable and it had never crashed on me, there's still that like thing in the back of your mind, like, but when it does. When it does, that's gonna suck.
It's gonna be the opportunity you've been waiting for, and you're gonna fuck it up.
Right. Right. So I mean, I have backups of everything because I'm neurotic in that way. not like a backup laptop. I had a backup system that also worked. And I was thinking like, well, if the backup system works, why not just use that?
Right.
So I transitioned into using this thing, which it has like 16 balanced outputs it'll like play a session basically, all inside of it. It'll have MIDI control and all this shit. So then I was using that, and I had to have a foot switch connected into it from my rack so I could control the songs myself. And then I was thinking like, this is what I wanted to avoid, was shit at my feet.
Yeah.
The whole point of the rack rig was to not have shit at my feet. So then I was thinking, what if everything is at my feet?
Yeah, because you do have all of these fucking controls, which I was going to ask you, because I'm about to do the same thing, and I would like to play a live show, and I would like to be in control of it, because I have control issues, and I need to know that because I won't fuck myself. I don't like to have another band member. I don't want to resent them, thinking that they could have pulled it off or something like that, but instead they were ignorant. So I'd rather be the one who gets fucked, you know?
Trust is big. I also have. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But so I used to have a MIDI foot switch that would actually control the DAW via MIDI, and Tino would operate that. So I taught him how to, like, here's what it does, play, stop, next song. And that worked great, but when I phased out the laptop, I phased out MIDI input control. So anyway, now I have this pedal board that I'm designing right now. Actually, this is going to be the brain of that.
I mean, you can pull it out. Why not? We might do a little video. We might not.
We might not.
Chug a little bit. So that's just, what is this supposed to be modeled after? A rectifier with an 808 with a max on in front of it?
Yeah, so I've got
it's like a tube screamer.
I've got some sort of compressor, like a Dynacomp or something, and then a tube screamer, and then basically a rectifier, 10-band EQ, and then some reverb. I know it's like a sin to have reverb on your rhythm guitar, but I always do it. I want that big Gojira
right, dude.
sound.
Yeah, this sounds cool. That's insane. I mean, it sounds super, super heavy. I wonder if, let's see here. Play that some more. Right. We'll slide it here. Let's see.
Put it in front. Ooh, oh, I see what we're doing.
I wonder, because that's supposed to be a rectifier, right?
Some kind of rectifier.
It's supposed to be. Cali rectifier.
Let's compare them.
I don't know. Let's see. So play. Should be. Keep on.
Without the tube screamer.
Yeah, without a tube
Without
screamer.
Tube screamer, no compressor.
Alright, so then let's just switch it back over then. This would go straight into input here. That's pretty close.
We could turn off. Here, let's... How do you even do that? There we go, okay.
Sorry, folks. We're working out the details right now.
Learning how to use this thing. Okay. So this is... Let's see, let's get back to the settings. This is just the rectifier. You can even match the settings if you want.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, play a little more. Alright, stop. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's pretty close, man. I mean, seriously. I mean, that sounds better to me. Not a spike. Yeah, if you took some of the high end out of this, this sounds good. It's very modelly to me.
Right.
It's got the high end curve that is very gnarly. Probably want to turn this onto the clean channel. But it's very balanced. It doesn't sound fizzy or bad or anything. This actually kind of sounds more like a new rectifier to me. Like it sounds like a 3-channel rec to me than it sounds like the old 2-channel rec. But that's because you're bypassing all the circuitry in this, going straight to the power amp.
Correct.
But yeah, this sounds great. How much did you pay for this?
I think it was like $600.
Yeah,
I mean $550, something like that.
How much can you store in this?
Fucking endless. And
it's obviously made of metal.
Yeah, there's
not a piece of crap.
There's 3. So there's A, B, and C per like batch or whatever. And
so then what's the point of buying the Helix if you can get this that has the same sounds?
Because
I've seen the Helix board. The Helix board is immense.
It is. There's like 6 blocks on this guy that you can put things into.
Yeah.
Like your chain. I think on the full Helix it's like 15 or some shit. So you can do more. You can put more things in a row. I don't have very complex signal chains, so I don't need all that shit. And I guess it's easier to tweak. It's easier to like build stuff. Okay. What I have here,
you could probably hook this into a computer.
Yeah, you can go USB out to a computer and then
set all the parameters in there and just lock it in.
There's a really intuitive program they use.
Cool.
So, like all the hour I spent with this thing was just me like with the keyboard and mouse, just like tweaking stuff and
that's really pleasant sounding, and I loved when we were going through it right before we segued into this. It just sounded really, 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 really kind of usable. It seems like it just needs to be tweaked to the EQ range, and you're ready to go.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, cool. You can see Tyler playing with this until something else comes along.
For 6 months.
Until he decides this isn't good enough.
Until I change my mind again.
Well, this is...